Hey, what's happening, everybody? This is Brian Frank coming at you with yet another one of B's True Hollywood Stories. Hi, my name is Brian. I spent 22 years in Los Angeles doing the Hollywood aspiring actor thing, and got a lot of stories about being a young, broke actor in Los Angeles. I spent about 3 years at this acting school called Van Mar, which was located right on Hollywood and La Brea, right in the middle of Tinseltown, the Walk of Fame, just across the street from Grauman's Chinese Theater. Looking back, this school was a school for beginners, and there was just such a motley group of actors and actor wannabes and even retirees who just wanted something to do. It was just such a crazy group. It was like a circus in there. Our coach was this gruff old bastard named of Ivan Markota, and he owned the school. He came up through Hollywood in the 70s with his brother, and I guess that they were a couple of real Croatian ruffians, and to the point where people saw them coming and they'd kind of get out of the way of these two. But by now he was probably in his late 70s, early 80s, and just gruff as hell. It was at this school that I met most of my friends that I'm still friends with today. I'll try to use fake names to protect the innocent and the guilty. Okay, so a group of us guys were really excited because there was a new Batman movie coming out. It's called Batman Begins. It starred Christian Bale. Up until then, superhero movies had really taken a nosedive. Joel Schumacher had murdered the Batman franchise with Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, the George Clooney one. And so a number of years went by and they were coming out with this new realistic Batman movie, and it was supposed to be so great. So I have a pal, I'll call him Ricky. He went and bought 17 tickets to a screening of Batman Begins. This was at the IMAX Theater, which is down in Century City on Howard Hughes Parkway. He bought 17 tickets, all that have their own assigned seats. And I lived pretty close to where Ricky lived. And we were supposed to go down together. So we're meeting up with this group of 17 people way down on Howard Hughes Parkway. And I go over to Ricky's place to pick him up and ride down with him. And he happens to be playing some football game where they actually have a draft for your team and all of that. And it seemed pretty complicated to me. But I got there and we were supposed to head out and start hitting traffic because the drive down there is going to be at least an hour. It was probably only about 13 miles, but it can take you an hour and a half to get down there. And old Rick is saying, well, let me get to a save point on this, and it's like, okay, but he's just taking his time and going on and going on. It's like, we got to go, man. You're the one whose name is at will call, so you're the only one who can get these tickets, and you're sitting here playing a damn video game. And I said, hell with this, man, I'm leaving. And so I left him there, and it takes me a while to get down there to the theater, and I go up the outdoor escalator, and here's the group of people that are all waiting, and they see me walking up. And I got this other pal, we'll call him Steve. Steve says, where's Ricky at? I said, man, I left him, man. He was sitting there playing Madden or whatever. And they're like, well, he's the one who's got the tickets. Yeah. And now the movie's starting, and finally, old Ricky comes up the escalator, and so he goes to the will call. Gets the 17 tickets. Okay. Now Steve and I are pals, all right? And we get our ticket. We immediately start running to the theater because, this is a premiere. We rushing out to the IMAX theater to take our seat. Now, old Ricky, isn't the biggest planner in the world. Actually, he's a terrible planner. But he bought these 17 tickets and they're all scattered all over the place because he didn't buy them early enough, okay? So Steve and I get our seat in the IMAX theater, and we sit down just as Christian Bale is walking across Tibet or something, across a mountaintop. It's like, okay. And we see Ricky's silhouette walking across the front. Okay, well, Ricky's going to his seat. And we sit there and we're watching the movie, and Ra's al Ghul's showing up and all this. And then we see Ricky's head walking back across the... And I leaned over to Steve. I said, hey, Ricky can't find his seat, man. This place was packed, all right, packed to the gills. And so we're watching the movie a little bit longer, and now here comes Ricky's silhouette with like two other guys, and both Steve and I are saying, "What the heck's going on here, man? Why is he bringing ushers or something with him?" And after a few minutes, here comes these two guys and Ricky's silhouette walking back towards the exit. We're just laughing, going, Ricky didn't get his seat. Ricky lost his seat. And it's just so funny to us because, you know, for 17 tickets, he had the last ticket. He just handed out tickets, and it just so happened that his one ticket had been double sold. Later, we find out that that's what the ushers were going over there for. And it turns out that either they double purchased tickets, and if we got there early enough, something could have gotten worked out. But no, he had to get to a save point on his damn football game, and now he doesn't get to see the movie. So we're laughing our heads off and then get back into the movie. This movie's like 2.5 hours long. I happened to go and look at the exit door about halfway through the movie, and there's old Ricky standing in the doorway with his head cranked, looking at the IMAX theater, eating popcorn, standing there. And I nudged Steve. I said, "Hey, look, Ricky's still here, and he's watching the movie, and he bought popcorn." Well, the movie gets out. It was great. You know, we're starting to shuffle out. And we come out into the lobby area, and there's Ricky standing there with a half-eaten tub of popcorn and like two things from the souvenir counter. You know, it's just, and I said, "What are you still doing here?" You know, he said, "Oh, well, they gave me a ticket to the next showing." I said, "So you hung out here for 2.5 hours and bought souvenirs and ate half a tub of popcorn just so that you can wait for the next feature? Why didn't you go to a bar or something?" "Oh, I didn't feel like going to a bar." This is just the appetizer on these stories about Ricky in Hollywood. But that was one of my first real experiences with old Ricky's organizational skills. But there are stuff that happened way before this that I will get to.